Welcome to Gumball Love. I'm Melissa Ledger, professional relationship coach, creator of Gumball Love and the Back to You Academy. If you're ready to stop the cycle of toxic men, get through the breakup once and for all, and finally get back to you, you are in the right place. This journey is about healing your heart, and you are encouraged to take the pace that is just right for you. In the process, you will build a foundation of confidence and strength that will make you unshakable, I promise. So get ready to level up your mindset and your lifestyle as you awaken the seeds of greatness just waiting to burst into full bloom. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger. All right, today I'm going to talk to you about just one of the gumballs, the red gumball, all about sex. Now, I want to take these one by one. I'm going to do shorter episodes just to get you to maybe zero in on some of the flavors that might resonate with you more as you look at these. So just as a review, for a long time, I've just told you that the gumballs are attention, any flavor of attention. But through a lot of labor in the past couple of months, I've been really working hard to define those 8 categories. Actually, I was defining categories, and I was so relieved that there were 8 because there's 8 real colors of the gumball. Like the traditional gumball machine has red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, white, and pink. So, signs from God that the 8 categories just happen to sync up. I tried to make the colors as close to the titles as possible. So like sex is hot, so it's red. Drama is fiery, so that's orange. Entertain me is yellow, so it's like a fun, exciting, like yellow kind of makes me just think of like whimsical. So when you're thinking of like, what does yellow mean? Like this, I'm doing my best, but compete with her for me. Like think of green with envy. He wants you to be envious of her and be competitive. Blue, you've got the blues, so pity me, or feel sorry for me or pity me. The only one that doesn't really work is purple for chase me. So maybe think of a purple sports car chasing you. I don't know. I couldn't find one for that. But then prove yourself to me is the white gumball. And I think of like a doctor in a coat with his glasses down on his nose. And he's like, with his clipboard and like, to prove it to me, like, more of the clinical kind of making you feel like you have to like he's the prove yourself to me. It feels like the guy has like the upper hand, like he's superior to you. So you're supposed to be proving yourself. And then pink is the adore me, compliment me. So think of like I'm blushing, I'm pink. And that's the adore me gumball. So that's just a quick review of the 8 flavors. But I think that the red gumball is probably one we deal with most frequently. And it always kind of makes an appearance. I want to clarify too that when I call sex a gumball, it's only because the experience of sex is a temporary high, right? There is a lot that leads up to sex too that also is a high. However, sex does not lead us to making real connection. So the way you separate the gumball is this just a temporary fix? Or is this something that can lead us to connection? So I always have the skeptic in my head that's saying like, well, Melissa, when you're having sex, you're getting closer. Well, not really, not just with the physical act. If you just have sex with someone and you don't do really anything else, and it seems like, well, okay, what kind of a relationship is that? Because there's usually other things happening. But are there? Usually it's the other gumballs. Yes, you can be having sex. You can be getting a lot of compliments. You can be, listening to his sad story. And yes, sometimes you're getting to know parts of the person. You know, kind of their backstory maybe, but you're not connecting with each other. There's not a reciprocity. There's not a connection to each other's lives. So let's just focus on the red gumball because I want to stay specific so you can, sorry for the paper rattling here, but you can literally pull up these episodes and be like, okay, so what is, I call it the sex me or just the sex gumball. So the guy that's addicted to wanting sex, or the red gumball, is the one that blows up your phone, calls, and then wants to hook up. He doesn't make any plans. And he's not making plans because when there is an addiction, that means that there is an urgency. So he's getting the craving. So I really want you to think about, okay, what prompts this is the craving. And I've said in other podcasts before that the gumball guy or the gumball girl, because we can be the gumball girl, this is also a major shift. Are you also accepting the red gumball? Because it is very tempting to be lured in by these kinds of messages because they also make you feel desirable. Somebody really wanting you and super attracted to you and wanting to have sex with you and telling you how amazing you look, that's very intoxicating. But I want you to really think about, okay, how does this guy approach me? What does it look like from the very onset? So the first thing is usually there's no plan in advance, because when the craving hits, they need their gumball now. They need their dopamine. They need their sugar high. So they don't make plans in advance. Then all of a sudden they're at your place and it's like, they're just so intoxicated by you and you're getting kissed and touched and you're getting told all these amazing things and it feels very romantic. So it feels romantic. It feels sexy. It feels hot. And so this is when it also, like I said, it's last minute. So maybe you'll get that last minute Netflix and chill message. So what's the opposite look like? The opposite looks like I'm making plans ahead of time. You feel like a priority, not like a last minute thought. He's able to kiss you without having sex with you. He wants to do things like hold your hand. He's also interested in your life. He notices the things that you do, like helping out your friends or the way you take care of your dogs or your cat or how you are dedicated to your work. He wants your happiness in all areas. And I was reading an interesting article that when it comes to sex, a lot of times guys will even be willing to please you sexually, but it still is because they like how you being turned on is also a high for them. Like they got you turned on, so it makes them feel good about themselves versus enjoying their partner being satisfied. And so these are the little things that come up. So what I always want you to be thinking about is what's the quarter? What's the gumball? What's the high? How is this? And is this pattern repeating? So the quarter is the blowing up your phone. I need. Gimme. I need it now. It's urgent. You're looking at your phone and the calls just keep coming. Maybe you're in a meeting, you're at a movie. You didn't think he was going to call tonight. And then you're looking at like, what is the urgency? And it makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I better respond. He really needs something right now. And then you respond and it's like, he's just got to have you. Well, why couldn't he have made these plans yesterday? It's because he waited until the craving happened. And when the craving happened, that's when he decided to reach out. And so it's just like drug addiction. I will try to prove this until I die, that I really believe that this dopamine high, this release in the brain is so powerful that these guys will go to any length to get it. And if you've been on the other side of this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like they have to have you right now, which also is a very big high for us to get on the other side. So when he puts in the quarters that's like to get you to give him the gumball. I need you to give in. So sometimes just the call or just the request isn't enough. So then he'll give you gumballs. You're so beautiful. I think you're so amazing. You're so sexy. So then he gives you pink gumballs for red. I'm going to adore you so you have sex with me. And so is it about the sex though? I say no. I believe that, and I really want you guys to think about this because our community and all the women in it right now are so critical to this whole research project. This has been a decade of research, and really a lot of the research is just working with you all individually, messaging you, listening to your stories, working with you as private clients, academy members, and hearing your feedback after podcasts. But I believe that this is truly an addiction to the feeling of validation, not so much the feeling that they get from an orgasm after sex or during sex. Yes, that is a part of it, but I really believe that men would not go to the lengths to pursue just sex. That the feeling of being desired, being wanted, being lusted after, that's the high. In fact, I had a guy on an online dating site who he started asking me like if I would do just sex only, and I was like, oh, I usually never get this kind of guy that approaches me. I must have like resting bitch face on my profiles when I've done online dating. But I was like, oh my gosh, I can ask this guy questions. So I started to play along like, oh, so you want to just meet up? Like, well, but you don't really know what I look like. How do you know if you're even attracted to me? He's like, well, that's part of the excitement. And I'm like, I think he did say friends with benefits. And I was like, but we're not friends. So how would we be friends with benefits? Isn't this just like basically for sex? And it was interesting the way he talked about it, because I could tell nobody had ever challenged him in this way. And I said, so, what do you think makes this so exciting for you? And he said, well, it's really all the stuff before sex that's the biggest high. And I was like, OMG, I cannot believe this guy just said it. Because I was really trying to see if he could admit that. And he actually did. That it was the planning, it was the texting, it was the prelude, it's the dinner where you're sitting there, you know that you're going to have sex later, and then the actual sex part was not the most exciting. So see, it's the I'm desiring you. So then what are those other gumballs? Not to confuse you, because this is just about the sex, but I'm trying to show you how these other things, like, look how drama feeds into that. Adoration and the sex, those kind of all. And then there's a little bit of a chase too. I'm chasing, I'm getting compliments, I'm getting sex, I'm getting this dramatic crescendo to the main event, but it really isn't the main event. The sex is like, the third act. The first two acts are the ones that are the most exciting when they're in pursuit of the red gumballs. So the sex me is all the things around sex. It starts with those things like, are you into friends with benefits? Do you want to come over? I love the way those leggings look on you. from one of my girls in the academy. They'll look at your pictures. They'll compliment your lips. They'll compliment your boobs. They'll compliment your butt. They will send you the unsolicited dick pic. They will ask you, what are you wearing? They will always kind of lead the conversation back to sex. And it will show you, I always know when this kind of guy, he's like, I imagine him being a leg humper. This is like the sex me guy that leads with this. He's just like that, he's just humping your leg, and then you try to have a conversation about anything else, and then he makes it a sexual innuendo. And sometimes it's like a kind of a big stretch to pull it into being a sexual innuendo, but he does it anyway because that's where he wants the conversation to go. And if you've ever been in that situation where it's like, dude, I'm actually trying to have a real conversation here, and he's still humping your leg. And, these guys only knew, like, look, dude, there's a time to hump the leg, and there's a time not to hump the leg, and this is not the time. Because what I want this to do eventually for you is for it to be a turnoff. And it will become a turnoff for you eventually. Because what you'll start to see is he's like, give me the candy, can I have the candy, instead of seeing that there's other benefits. Like, yes, you can be extremely physically attracted to somebody. You can have all of those elements are there. Like the lust is there. Like I think when you meet the right person, you're going to have a lot of lust for them too. However, there are times when most of the time you have that reined in, and you're also looking at if sex can be a part of it, great, but that's not the main thing you're focused on all the time. which is really weird for a guy that this is the main thing he's focused on. And so, but it can be confusing to you because he'll act like he's interested in moments or sometimes, but most of the time it comes back to this. So this is the guy that shows up at your apartment or your house unannounced, last minute, texts you, gives you all the sexual comments, stays over. I was reading this other article. A lot of times the guy will spend the night, not because he wants to cuddle in your arms or you in his arms, but that he wants morning sex. So also look for that. What does he want in the morning? Does he want sex in the morning too? So he stays here for that? Or is he leaving right after because he gets and then I almost said because he gets what he wants. He does want the sex. However, the guy that leaves right after the sex is uncomfortable with the closeness that comes after sex. They don't like that feeling of vulnerability and really being seen, the conversations that can come after sex when you are really actually building a real relationship. So when it's real, the sex can bring you closer. You can bond because then you are right. I mean, you're naked, right? So you're vulnerable. And so then the conversations that happen after that, if you are ready for intimacy, you are comfortable in your own skin, you are on the adventure, you are interested in that person, and it's not just about sex, then the sex becomes so much different. So these are the things that I want you to be thinking about, because if a guy, this is why I tell you if a guy sends you an unsolicited penis picture, it's like, I want you to have in your head my voice, here's my penis. It's like, oh, there's your penis. Yep. We don't want to see a penis. So one, if you want to see a penis, God, I don't get it, but it's like most women are not interested. We don't Google penises. We're not looking at that. They always say porn is for two types of men, gay and straight men. Women are just typically not consumers of porn, or if they are, it's a much lower percentage. If all men stopped watching porn, the industry would die. So that said, if he's sending you that, regardless of our perspectives on pornography, it's just not what is, when they lead with that, they are telling you right up front, this is the language I want to speak with you. I just want to speak in a sexual way. Give me red gumballs. So what does the penis picture say? This is how big it is. Are you impressed? Do you want to have sex with me? Let's talk about sex. Let's create heat in the conversation. Turn it up. Red, red, red. Like, that's why I colored this one red, because it's all about creating that intense, red hot chemistry and excitement. But you also want to think, okay, what is the opposite of this? The opposite of just the sex is the real intimacy that's on the other side. Intimacy is not sex. You can have intimacy within sex, but intimacy is the friendship, the connection, and the comfort. When you have intimacy, you can tell that person anything. You feel totally able to surrender with that person. And if you have that, and you're able to have sex with a person that you can feel that way with, then you're completely liberated. But sex just by itself, it's a lot of physical, right? And I always joke that the average sexual encounter is 2 to 8 minutes. But it's something to think about. Think about, really go back in your mind and think about from the time that you're actually having the sex. It's really not that long of a period of time. And when you don't have intimacy, there's usually an awkwardness. I mean, even if you both are rock stars at the physical aspect of it, if there's no intimacy and no real connection and you don't really know each other beyond that, and you are just friends with, it's funny, friends with benefits should be the definition of a real relationship. You should be able to be friends and also have benefits of sex, right? It's sort of, now that I hear that, friends with benefits, it's like yeah, you should be friends and able to have sex. So I wish the opposite meaning were true. But, obviously, if you're just casual acquaintances, it should be acquaintances with benefits. Like I'm a casual acquaintance, and then when the mood strikes you, you call them and you hook up. And so I just don't, I feel like people that are doing that, in fact, I know I've coached many people through that, where there's always one person that feels more, that actually wants more from the relationship. And they allow the physical, they have sex because they want to be close to them. And I've actually coached a couple of guys through this, but mainly women, where I had a guy reach out to me and he was like, I have this girl, we're friends with benefits, blah, blah, blah. In the end, I said, let me ask you, do you have more feelings beyond friends? Yes, it's always the case. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's human. So usually when we're doing friends with benefits, we are abandoning our own feelings. We are abandoning ourselves at the sacrifice, and we're sacrificing what we really want and our needs to meet the needs of someone else. We would love to be close, but we know if we push or we ask for what we want, they might reject us, and we don't want to have that pain. So we stay quiet and we take what we can get. I think that's a lot of friends with benefits situations, because usually too, when I've had people where one of my best girls, I quoted her, she said she was in this situation kind of, and it's the Instagram quote, "My heart isn't made for casual." She was trying to be casual, but in reality, I could just see, you're not a casual sex girl. You're having feelings. It's normal. And her tears just streamed down her face. And then she said the famous line, "My heart isn't made for casual." It's like, mine either, honey. It's just not how we are wired. We are not wired. Our brains are not wired to just hook up and have casual sex. Our brains wire to connect, to bond. And there's even the chemical that says, this is mine and not yours. There's a actual chemical that we fight. We feel territorial for the person that we have sex with. So don't take it lightly. Really think about, okay, if I'm having sex with, if I want to have sex with this person, where am I? Am I in a real relationship? Dr. Debbie came into the Back to You Academy and she said, don't have sex until you're actually in a relationship. Not where you're wondering if you have the relationship, or it isn't assumed that you have plans together, that you haven't established that you are in fact a couple, because otherwise we stay in limbo, and then we're abandoning ourselves. And this has been a huge recurring theme. This has been coming up a lot. And I really think that as Gumball Love has evolved, that this is really an important piece. If I give sex and I give that gumball and I say, yep, okay, I'm going to give you sex when I don't know if you're really into me for the long term, or even just into me to explore a relationship. It doesn't have to be like, are you into me to be married? But are we exploring this relationship? Do we have a common respect for each other? Are we interested? Are we excited? Are we, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, okay, I like you enough to where I want to see you as much as possible. I want to make plans with you every weekend. You're the person that I want to be snuggled up on the couch with and actually really watching Netflix and chilling. Like, they're the person that you want to spend that time with and explore a relationship. Will it work after 1 year, 2 years? I don't know. But I think that we're also it feels like online dating, we're skipping the dating part. It's like people put these profiles out. And it's like, okay, yeah, you know their religious beliefs, you know their height, where they're from, where they went to school, and people state, yes, I would like to have children, I'd like to be married, or I've already had children and I don't want that, or I'm divorced, or I'm separated, whatever. Like, everybody fills out this profile, and it feels like, okay, if we're attracted to each other, now we have to move on to planning our lives together. It just seems like everything got accelerated, and then people don't like the fact that it feels accelerated, and so nobody wants to commit to anything. And so there's this weird stress, I think, that's happening with relationships, and nobody is Everyone's skipping the courtship process. Like, hey, it's okay to say, I really like you. I think you're awesome. I love talking to you. I like being around you. I am attracted to you. I like kissing you. I feel good when I'm next to you. However, maybe you don't know how they take their coffee. Maybe you don't know if they drink coffee. Maybe you don't know what they like to watch on TV. Maybe you don't even know what their favorite sports are, their favorite colors, what they wear. Like, what do you know about them? Because we don't know them just after a few dates or 2 dates. We're trying to make so many decisions so fast. So give yourself time to get to know them and allow that to evolve naturally, so you don't feel like you're supposed to be making all these decisions. And let me tell you, the guy that is addicted to attention will create a sense of urgency. He needs sex. He needs adoration. He's dramatic. He's got a pity party going on. He's got, where he's in another relationship and there's all this tension and intensity. And I've talked to you guys a lot about intensity. And so to kind of wrap this up, if I am addicted to getting all of the gumballs and the attention, everything around sex, I want you to really think about in your situation how this presents to you. Are guys able to text you and get you to feel like you need to or you have to give them sex? Not that you're doing it against your will, but you know how it kind of feels like you get caught up in the moment. I'm like, wait a minute, is this just for sex? Does this person really care about me? Are they in it to get to know me? Or is this just the gumball? And I want you to picture, okay, if I let him come over tonight, I have a whole globe of red gumballs and he's all excited about them. And I'm going to keep giving them to him and sexy comments and, all the things that are related to sex. And at the end of the night, it's chewed up gumballs. Just imagine a big pile of chewed up gum. You can't build anything from that. What are you building? Is there anything sustainable that's happening in this interaction? Or is it all leg humping? Because a guy that you are attracted to coming at you with that kind of energy, wanting to kiss you, touch you, hold you, when you want that affection, you want that closeness, you want the feelings. Because look, when we have intimacy, then all of those things being touched, held, like the same things we get with the sex are actually so much more meaningful. And I'm going to work into my brand that those things, intimacy, is in the treasure chest. So we have a gumball machine and we have a treasure chest. In the treasure chest, the pearls, the diamonds, the sapphires, that's where you pull things out like, oh, I actually have established trust. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds. So trust, consistency, reliability, dependency. Like, I can depend on you. I can rely on you. I feel confident in our connection. I feel that there's a friendship here. There's a mutual respect and understanding. I understand what this person believes. I know what they stand for. When you really know who someone is below just, dating conversation. Do they believe in the same God you do? Do they believe in, like, when it comes down to issues that really are important to you? I'll tell you what, that can kill a vibe real quick. Or you can go, wow, didn't realize that. And then you respect that person 10 times more. That's the gold, the gems, the diamonds. Like, think of those things. So the gumballs are great. They're fun. They're exciting. We don't have to make gumballs bad all the time, but just the addiction to that without the association or the connection to the person, that's when it becomes a problem. The addiction to the high versus actually connecting with you and who you are as a person. I want you to really balance that. So how does that look? He makes plans. You are a priority. He kisses you with no sex. He can spend a whole evening with you, taking you out on a date, and then be like, I have to work in the morning, so he's not going to come in and try to have sex with you because he's got to get up for work the next day. And so that might make you feel rejected if you've only dated gumball guys, because you've not dated a man who actually respects himself, his time, his work. So he's like, he legitimately has to go. And he actually got enough satisfaction just taking you on a date and being in your presence. He doesn't need to grope you and see you naked to make it worth his time. This is why when guys act like paying for a date is some big sacrifice. It's like, yeah, you pay for dates for a period of time, but then it levels out. You get into a relationship and you start to level out the money, and and it's like, what's the payoff here? A payoff is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, potentially. Like, this is somebody, you know what I mean? So when somebody's got, and I'm not saying that the guy should just pay for everything endlessly, but if a guy is spending time with a woman and he sees pearls and gems and diamonds, and all he's got to do is buy dinner to spend time with her, he's not thinking about the cost of dinner. It's not an issue. He's not it's also too, they're not associating, well, why should I spend this money on you? A lot of guys are angry about the price of dating because they feel ripped off, because they're angry. So I want you to think like, yes, there's a cost of dating. And I mean, look, there's a cost for us too. We have to get outfits. There's a lot more cost for us with the makeup and the hair and the getting ready. And so everyone's investing, but we're not like, oh my gosh, why should I do my hair for another guy? Why should I use more hair product and put on makeup? And so sometimes we are complaining about that, but I'm not going to think like, oh man, am I going to spend this much money to go out with like a guy I'm really into it? Like, you're not even thinking about that stuff because you're just excited to spend time with them. So it's like spending time with them. You want experiences with them. So dinners and going to movies or plays or going on a weekend getaway. Yes, there's cost involved, but the focus should be on the experience and the adventure, not the financial burden. And also, it doesn't have to be a financial burden. We can build intimacy sitting at a park with a cup of tea. We can build intimacy with a wonderful conversation at a dog park. Like if there is a budget concern, if he really is invested and he doesn't have the finances, but he makes the effort, a quality woman will see that and be on board for the adventure. So I just want you to keep that in mind. If you feel like money is like, I just don't want to spend all this money on all these dates, these guys that they're too angry. There's something else going on there. And that can't be the thing that is laid in your lap as some kind of okay, sorry, you're angry about the financial investment, because he's not seeing, it's almost like, will you pay $150 now to get a priceless treasure chest full of diamonds, rubies, and emeralds? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's eventually what happens on this journey. So you get what I'm saying? So I want you to think about, you want to be with somebody who's enthusiastic, not negative, that's not angry, that's not talking about their ex, and that's other gumballs down the road. But I want to stay focused on sex. But I just want you to understand too the opposite of this. Like, yes, sex is great, it's fun, it's intense, and there is a dopamine high. However, combine that dopamine high with someone who's making you a priority, that really is invested in you. It's like beyond any friends with benefits experience. People that are doing the friends with benefits don't have anything on the people that have intimacy, connection, friendship, because when there is true intimacy, you're completely free. Where if it's friends with benefits or it's just hookups, the experience it begins and ends right there. You know what I mean? And I don't care what anyone says, but if we just are relying on sex, there's always rejection at the end. Because if you are just having sex with someone and there's not a desire for you, you don't have that desire, like, I wish I had you. If you don't we all want a person to love us, right? And so if we're just having sex with someone, it's sort of acting like a placeholder. It's to soothe. It's to think of the gumball as it's the drug, right? It's the anesthesia. It numbs, soothes, anesthesia, makes us forget. However, this is the thing that I never thought of until recently, that when we have sex as a placeholder, it's not holding a place. It's actually making you unavailable for the real connection that you're craving. And I mean emotionally unavailable. If we're hooking up and we're just filling the void with meaningless sex, that makes us feel rejected, because if it's just friends with benefits, then we'll assume that the person leaves without pursuing a relationship with you, which does not feel good. When you're laying there naked in the bed by yourself because the person left and they're not going to call you later, that doesn't feel good. I don't care what anyone says. They can tell me all their stories about how monogamy isn't natural, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, because we're human and we are wired to connect. We're wired to want love, and sex gives us that feeling of, this is mine, I'm territorial. And when we resist that, it's ripping at the fabric of who we really are. And so I want you to look at this like, I want you to look at it from his perspective. Like, is he craving? I want you to look at it from your perspective. What am I craving? And I believe you are craving real intimacy, friendship, and connection. And sometimes when there's no one around and it feels lonely, it's tempting to answer these calls. It's tempting to text back and go there, because you want the whole package. And so, but are you just getting the gumball? Are you just getting the sexting? And are you able to even talk about anything else? Are you able to talk about your life, what's going on, your stresses at work, etc.? Are you able to go there at all? Or does he always veer it back to where he can get high? So this is also really quick. The guys that are into the sex me, these are the guys that are at strip clubs. They're the ones that are porn addicts. They are, sometimes it's my girl's been telling me online, you're seeing a lot of couples that are looking for the third person. They're looking for the threesome. So they are reaching out to you because, look, they don't have intimacy. The couples that are swingers don't have intimacy that's satisfying them in their relationship. So what they're saying is, hey, we want to get high. And they get high by adding the unknown dynamic of the other person. And so you might get propositioned to be that other person. And of course, again, it's exciting. You get the pink gumballs, all the adoration, and you get the sex gumballs, like, oh my gosh, you're so sexy, you're so hot. There's all this excitement, and then there's drama. Do you see how all this stuff is just at the sugar high level? It's all about the dopamine. It's all about the chemical that surges in the brain. But at the end, it sucks. At the end, you feel rejected. At the end, you feel unsatisfied. And this is the part that people have to get really real with. Because if we don't look at this part, then we're overanalyzing a guy that's a leg humper. It's like, is he really there? Is he making you a priority? Is he taking you on dates? Is he calling you? Does he care about your life? Or is he just reaching out to you when it benefits him? And if it's just benefiting him and he's really not making a connection with you, then that's when you love yourself and you say, look, love to be here, love to hang out, love to chat, but I don't feel like a priority to you. So I gotta go. I gotta go where I'm also a priority, because threesomes and prostitutes and strip clubs and porn and friends with benefits and want to come over and penis pictures and sex, dopamine, 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 drug, soothe me, give me anesthesia, make me forget my pain. So I want you to think of that too. When he's putting the quarter in and you see your phone blow up, or you hear your messages dinging and you're like, I know what he wants. I want you to ask yourself, what am I tempted to give? What am I getting in return? Is this an investment in me? Am I a priority? Was this plan made in advance? Do I have intimacy? Do I have connection? Do I have respect? Am I really all those things. Do I have any of this? Or is it just going to be a chewed up gumball at the end? And what am I left with when this experience is over? So I hope this is helpful to you because we're going to go through each of these individually. So I'm going to keep recording these podcasts close together so that you have them all. So just to review, it's sex, drama, entertainment, competition, pity, the chase, proving yourself to them, and adoration or adore me. I'm still working with the names, but I really think it's going to end up being sex, drama, entertain, competition, or compete, pity, chase, prove, adore. And I'd love to have something different for prove yourself to me, but that one is where you feel like you're never enough, so you're always trying to sell yourself, and he's just that, I don't know, and you're great, but I just feel like, all women are the same, and it's always great in the beginning, and you feel like you're constantly proving yourself, and that's a whole nother category we'll do. But I just want to keep reminding you of those 8 flavors. Today, we talked about just the sex me gumball, and I want you to be mindful of that because it's probably the one I see the most in the screenshots that are coming into the private Facebook group and the messages you guys send to me. Because look, sex is the easiest way to get high without getting vulnerable. They can lead with sex and it's hot and it's intense. However, they don't feel that sense of vulnerability, like you're really seeing who they are or peeking into their life. They can stay hidden and still have sex. So they can get close without being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like they can come over, they can feel you, smell you, touch you, have sex with you, lay in bed with you. Like they get everything. But then as soon as you want closeness and intimacy, they leave. And that's the painful part because you feel like they're rejecting you. But in reality, a guy that's focused just on sex is really rejecting himself because he feels like he's not good enough beyond that he's hiding the other things because he feels like if you see these things, and I know I've told you guys this a million times, but they feel like if you see these things about me, you will reject me. So I'm going to hide behind these gumballs. And I'm going to maneuver myself in a way that you never can get anything more from me. And then if you leave, I never got attached enough for it to hurt me in the way that it would had I made myself vulnerable. So they stay just close enough to keep you reeled in, but not enough to contribute to your life. And when you're in this holding pattern, you have to be really careful. Now look, if you're not being propositioned with any gumballs, if they're not looking for sex and they're not giving you any drama or asking for entertainment and they are just slowly getting to know you, sometimes we can feel like we're being strung along. We can feel like, well, what's going on here? Because we're so used to these guys wanting gumballs. We're so used to getting those quarters. Like, what are you wearing? What's going on? How are you? You look so beautiful. Like we're used to that intensity coming because they want the gumballs. So they'll do whatever it takes to get that. But sometimes the guy that just has normal conversation with you, it can feel like, wow, is this guy ever going to make a move? Because we get impatient because we get used to the speed and the intensity of the gumball guy. And there's a delicate balance, right? There's the guy that's the forever texter that will text you endlessly for months and never make a move. And that's also not okay. That's also a guy that's hiding. So we have to balance it out and you'll come to those decisions and I can help you with that too, where you come to a point where you're like, okay, if this isn't going to move forward, I think you're awesome, but I have a new thing. I'm not going to be your pen pal. I'm not going to be your pen pal. I don't want to write you notes forever. I want to actually talk to you, see you. Let's figure this out. Let's go on the adventure. And you know what? When you do the work, if you join the Back to You Academy, God, I'm so proud of these girls in this group. I mean, it's like our coaching sessions are so much different. We're talking about their businesses now. We're talking about other dynamics because we're not talking about them being hung up on their guy anymore. They're investing in their lives. They are doing things that are really increasing their happiness level and their confidence level. And it's so powerful to see this. So let me just tell you that I created the Back to You Academy so you could come in and you can get content like I'm giving you now, but much more in depth. So you'll get your login and your password, and you'll get access to all the audios and the videos and the workbooks and the PDFs. And I have tons of things in there to help you understand this process. And then I offer you group coaching every single week, Mondays or Wednesdays, or if you really need, some girls come both nights because they just need to keep being reminded of the stuff. If you're going through a breakup, you are trying to forget about your ex, you keep stalking a guy that you've not been even dating for 6 months to a year, but you're still stuck in some way, or you feel like you haven't dated in forever and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing, or I don't even know maybe you're like, I don't even know who I am, Melissa. I've been dating these guys for so long. I don't even know who I am. I call it the Back to You Academy because I want you to finally get back to investing in yourself, back to who are you? And really, back to you isn't back to an original version of you. It's getting back to I want you to see who you really are. The woman that is that tight rosebud that hasn't even bloomed. I think you're dating these guys and you haven't even bloomed. We can't even see your petals because you've been so afraid to show who you are. And look, you know how it is. You can only see the outer petals when a rosebud is tight. So as it starts to bloom, you see how many petals are in there, and you need to discover that about yourself. You need to see all of the things that you have to offer and you bring to the table. Because let me tell you something. When you're talking to a guy and you start to see who he is, like a quality one, and you start to have conversations, you find common threads, and you're like, oh, we agree here. We can talk about this. We can talk about that. You start thinking, we're pretty good together. Like, this is pretty good. Like, you can really see your value and what you contribute and what you would add and how fun you would be in that person's life. And I want you to get to that point. And so if they reject it or if they walk away, your response will be like, man, that's stupid. Like, that's really unfortunate that he's not ready, because it could have been a lot of fun. And there are a lot of dudes that are scared and they walk away from a good chick that they actually like because they're too afraid she'll see him and reject him. So I want you to get that confident in yourself to where you know, look, I'm not perfect, but I do know what I have to offer. And I do know how fun I am. I know that, like, some of my girls, I'm like, do you know how freaking hilarious you are? I enjoy my girls so much, and I really work hard to help you see what you should be enjoying about yourself. Pay attention to what your friends love about you, all of the things. But you need to fall in love with yourself, figure out who you are. And so when you are in any setting, a business setting, a dating, or on a date, or just hanging out at a family event, that you know who you are, and you know who you are in all situations, and you're not trying to be anything else. And if people don't like it, you're like, oh, that's who I am. And that's a really good feeling. It took me a really long time to get there, but my whole mission and purpose in life is to shorten that journey for you so that you are able to enjoy your life more. I don't want it to take you 10 years like it took me, or 15 years since I started therapy. Like, it's been a long journey. But I didn't start this with this end in mind. I was just plugging through day after day. I had no idea what I was doing. It was like I was completely blind. I would go to therapy. I was just figuring it out, fumbling through. So I want to provide you structure. I want to give you support, structure, support, encouragement, like-minded women, friendships that come from this. Both of us, I noticed three of my girls are all like, they're doing Zoom calls, hanging out with each other, helping each other with their businesses. Like all this community is starting to happen. And it's so beautiful to see. And I really want you to be a part of it. So if you're listening to this and you've considered it, just join. You can join for a month and see what it's like. And each month you get a one-on-one coaching session with me. So I want to meet with you privately. I want you to be in our group. And I also want you to have access to all the stuff on the digital side so you can listen to the audios and really do this at your own pace. This is, you drive. We don't pressure you into doing stuff you don't want to do, or I don't give you a bunch of homework assignments. It's really more of an organic process and how it works into your life so you can personalize the experience. I want to give you what you need personally. I ask at all of my sessions, what can I do to support you right now? What can I do to help you in this moment? And they're like, I know you always ask that and I never know what to say, but I really want to know. Like, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to support you wherever you are and to help you become a confident, beautiful, strong woman that's also able to be vulnerable, feminine, sexy, and feel that sense of contentment and lack of, I don't want you to have any fear about the process, because the person who sees you, it's not going to be like, it's not going to take them a long time to figure out. Like, a quality person knows a quality person when they meet them. I told my now friend Natanya, she did my food prep for the last year and she moved away to Arizona. I'm so sad. So I said to her, you were out of culinary school and you had never done, I was her first customer. And so, which by the way is how I have someone food prep for me at an affordable price, because I can't afford to have the fancy chef that she turned into, but we became friends and she was so great. She stuck with me the whole time. And I said, I hired you this first 5 minutes you started talking. She came over and I was like, yep, I just could tell she's quality. She's put together. She's passionate. I just could tell immediately that I would have hired her. It didn't take me an hour to talk to her to figure it out. I just knew. Think about that. You know when someone is quality. You know when it's like, okay, this person's worthy. So, and you know why? Because I know my own worth. And so I'm able to recognize someone else's worth. We're not able to recognize worth when we don't know our own. So when a guy is not, when he's looking at you and he's not seeing value, he doesn't see his own. And so it's really not your problem if he doesn't see your value. And you can't take it personally, because I want you to get so solid and so secure and so rooted in who you are that you will only spend time with people that see it, that put value on it, that are, that appreciate you. And we are spending a lot of time talking to a lot of people that don't appreciate us, that don't put any value on what we're saying, that aren't even paying attention to what we're talking about. And I want you to really limit that, because it bleeds over into all these other areas. So getting back to the guy who leads with sex, he doesn't know his own value. So he's saying, can you soothe me and give me anesthesia for my pain? And this is going to manifest through sex. And I'm going to create a tremendous amount of urgency around needing sex from you, because I am in desperate need of filling a void that I can't figure out, or I'm not willing to do the work to fill on my own. So can you give me the drug? Because I need it so bad. Hashtag leg humping. And it comes through as, I need it. I'm blowing up your phone. I'm texting. Oh my God, you're so hot. You're so sexy. It's like too much urgency. If there's urgency behind it, no plans made in advance, that is your sign to go, okay, I got to take a step back. What is this guy's pattern? Is this always the pattern? Is there ever a plan in advance? Am I ever a priority? You should always be a priority. Once you've established that you're dating, you are the priority. And this takes time, right? So again, I want us to not expect that good guys are going to make us a priority like day one. Okay. That's also not how it works. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't work the same in every situation. Every guy he was raised differently. You might be, people are from different countries. They have different customs. They were raised by different parents. Like, you don't really know. Some people are really private. Some people are slower to make that decision, but they work up to it. And so we also cannot be urgent to decide, where is this going? Are we in a relationship? If you're being respected and he's not requesting sex from you. He's not having pity parties. He's not asking you to chase him. He's being consistent. He's communicating with you, but maybe he's not professing his love, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to just be able to balance this out in your head and understand the other side of it. But if you're seeing that pattern repeat of sex, and nothing else, that's how you know you're just fulfilling a craving. You're literally just giving him his drug supply. And that is your signal that this is an addict. And the worst thing that can happen is he can create an addict out of you. All of a sudden you start becoming addicted to his drug because you start communicating in the red gumball love language, or red and pink. Like, you start to look at those flavors. What does our relationship really exist on? Sometimes it's like, yep, drama, compliments, sex, chase, and yep, I'm competing with his ex. Like, sometimes that's the whole relationship, and it's all sugar highs. Nothing's building anything. No intimacy, no friendship, no consistency, no reliability, just sugar highs. That's it. So, all right, that was a lot on the red gumball, but I want to give you a really good perspective on each of these flavors. So I will be releasing these again and again. So let me know your thoughts. Please leave a review if you haven't already. I would love to, just even if you can leave a comment or a 5-star review, is always so appreciated. And again, if you want to join the Back to You Academy, go to gumballove.com, click on Academy, message me directly at the Melissa Ledger on Instagram, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. All right, I will talk to you soon. Until next time, bye-bye.